All right, everybody, we're here. Spring's here. Probably feels like summer for some of you. It's about 75 degrees here in Utah. We wanted to do a kind of a Q&A. We've been getting a lot of messages on social media about, lots of different subjects, the 40 horse, all sorts of stuff like that. So we're going to go over some of those questions that people have sent on messages, and if you have any other questions, go ahead and chime in, and we'll go over your questions. We'll go ahead and give away some swag for some of these questions that you guys send in. And what's the first question you got, Travis?
First one we had, what are the differences between the 37 EFI and the new 40 horse EFI?
So Briggs & Stratton has done a few things with the 40 since the 37. The main things are they've changed the heads up a little bit higher, better airflow, a little more compression. They've added different pistons and piston rods. They're actually a flat top piston. Basically, you're getting more compression with those pistons. They've strengthened the block. They've changed the cam profile a little bit. It's basically just kind of a little bit stronger engine. You're gaining a couple horsepower. When we've dynoed them here, they've actually, most of the time, they're over 40 horsepower, 41, 42, 43 horsepower on the dyno. So it's a real strong engine. They've also kind of hollowed out the exhaust a little bit to let it free flow a little bit more, and it's really didn't add any more sound. So that's the main differences with the new 40 horse.
And along with that, the next question they've got, what performance parts do you have for the 40 EFI?
So we've been developing these for a little while. I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to have two separate kits, if you will, for the 40 horse. The first is going to be a muffler of your choice, whether that's the Q or the Rapid. It's going to have our cylinder heads that we're going to, they'll be a little bit different than the ones we've been doing, but the cylinder heads will be decked, bigger stainless valves, ported, polished, new seats. There'll be a better flowing head than what you're getting on the 40 currently. We're also going to do some intake work as well. The next step up we're going to do is adding our cam. We're going to probably be in around 45 to 47 horse for the first kit, and then 52 to 55 horse for the second kit. It's a real strong running motor as it is, so these are really going to wake it up.
Cool. We've got a couple comments here already. Keith Mitchell says, "What's up, boys?"
Hey, Keith.
What's up, Keith? And Brian Miller put on here, he wants to know, with the 44 EFI, would it perform better with the hammer prop? That's kind of a complicated question in the fact that it depends on how many RPMs you're turning with your current setup. If you're turning over 4,400 RPMs on your boat with you alone in the boat with a new big blade, then a hammer is possible. It kind of depends on what you want to do. I like to run the hammer when I know I'm going to be in the real shallow water, the mud, when I know I'm going to be pushing big hunting loads. I personally don't like to run the hammer in the summer. I like to be as fast as I can. I've usually got, maybe 2 or 3 guys in the boat, a small amount of fishing gear. I like to have my RPMs up and be able to go as fast as I can. So if you can, the answer to the question is if you can push 4,400 RPMs with a big blade, then yes, you can use a hammer. Gotcha. The other questions had to do with performance parts as well. I wanted to know, what do you offer for the 27 Kohlers?
So we've got several parts for the Kohlers. We've got aftermarket cylinder heads. They're decked, bigger stainless valves, ported, polished. We've got cams for the 27s. We've got mufflers for the Kohlers. So, all those parts together, you can bump those things all the way up to 33, 34 horsepower. And they're extremely reliable, very strong, lightweight, lighter than the Vanguard. So they're good options.
Very good option. Next question, kind of just an off-season question, was what should I do to my motor to make sure it's ready for fishing season?
So hopefully when you put it away for the fall, you've kind of gone over some things, but what you want to do for sure is check belt tension. check valve clearance. Depending on what your motor is, check our website, but generally you're going to be between 5 and 6 thousandths on your valve clearance. Things like changing the oil, changing the spark plug, changing the fuel filter, making sure that's all fresh and new and ready to go for the spring. Another big thing is batteries, making sure that your batteries are not only charged, but make sure that they're good. A lot of times, even though it might fire up your motor once in the morning, maybe you're running your trolling motor or running a bilge pump or something off it while you're out there, and just that little extra bit of draw might kill it and leave you stranded somewhere. So get your battery checked out. Check your bearings on your trailer is a big one. Fishing trips, or I'm usually traveling pretty far to go fish, so bearings on the trailer is a good one.
Ian Kirkpatrick says hello.
Ian, hey.
Another question here from Keith says, what's the best oil to use?
If it's a brand new motor, I prefer a straight conventional 1030. I don't like to use any kind of semi or full synthetic on a motor under 50 hours. After that, then you can go to those semi-synthetics or a full synthetic. But the biggest thing I have to say is use something with a zinc additive. These motors have flat tappet cams, and you need that little bit of a coat of that zinc so you don't damage your cam, flatten out a cam lobe.
Cool. Brian says, thanks guys, my new motor is I'm hoping we'll be here this week. So he must have a new motor on his way. So,
nice, yeah.
Cool. Like I said, if he needs any help with anything else, he can get a hold of us.
Yeah, get it broke in right.
Yeah. Question from Corey Watson says, what type of bow fishing supplies do you offer?
So we pretty much have A to Z, anything you need, all the way from the platforms on the front of your boat. We've got lights for those platforms, seats, we've got bows, we've got arrows, reels, RPM, full line RPM dealer, Oneida, you name it, we can get it for bow fishing. One thing that we've been doing quite a bit of lately is lighting. We've got LED lights from several different manufacturers. We've got anywhere from the cheap $40 ones to the $200 sea lights. And then we've also got high pressure sodium and metal halide lights. That's what I personally run. We're talking, you only need like 4 of the HPS lights to put off 3 times the light that you could get with an LED. The kits that we're selling come with the light, the ballast box, everything you need to hook them up. They're extremely bright. They're kind of an orange tint to them, so they cut through the murky water a little bit better than the LEDs do.
Cool. And that was actually one of our questions that we had, so that's good. Curtis Zabel says, make sure you put all lights and accessories onto trolling motor battery. That way you have one dedicated battery for starting motor. I've had a starting battery die a couple times.
Yeah, that's a good thing. On my boat, I run a starting battery that's a high cold cranking amp, at least 850 cold cranking amps. And then I run 2 big Group 27 deep cell batteries for my trolling motor and all the rest of the accessories. And then I keep everything, both of those circuits on a Perco switch. So every time I step out of my boat and I know I'm going to leave it for more than, half the day, I'll flip that Perco switch to make sure that nothing is drawing current. Almost all trolling motors out there, just by plugging it in, having it hooked up to your battery, is still drawing a current. It's basically waiting for your input. So if you leave a trolling motor plugged in and on your battery for a month, it's going to kill your battery, and you're going to be out $100.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment. I do the same with mine. I keep my cranking motor and my trolling motor lights on separate batteries as well. So good comment, Curtis. Keith says, when are we going bow fishing?
Well, the water is heating up. Travis just went out last night and got into a few. But here in Utah, anyway, we're right on the brink of having some good bow fishing. I know, you guys around the rest of the country have been doing it for a couple months. I wish we had the water that you guys do. I wish we could shoot, all sorts of different stuff too. All we get to shoot is carp.
Yeah, just a hair too cold still, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trevor Ladner wants to know, when will we see a diesel Mutt Buddy?
Probably never. There has been actually a couple that we've played with. The one that we were playing with was I believe it was a 20 horsepower Kubota, and the very first time we fired that thing up, it almost bounced on the concrete floor every time that the crankshaft spun. They had just so much inherent vibration and weight that they don't work for a mud motor application.
Gotcha. Curtis said also add an onboard charger.
Yeah,
back to his first comment
sure.
with the
Yep. I run a 3-bank onboard charger that go one bank for each battery, and whenever you get back to the house for the evening, plug it in. If you're on a trip, you can throw a little generator in the boat and charge up your batteries.
Absolutely. Brian Miller says, come to Florida, I'll put you on some fish.
Yeah, I'd love to. I actually hunted with Sid, one of our dealers in Florida. We shot all sorts of stuff, but man, the tilapia was awesome. We shot 5 coolers full of tilapia this big. It was a blast.
Yeah,
That's actually where this alligator came from, that same trip.
Yeah. Tell him not to make offers that he ain't gonna hop up on, huh?
I'll hook you up with this long sleeve sunscreen shirt. So send us a message with your address and we'll get this sent out to you.
Very cool. One of the other questions we had online earlier was wanting to know how many RPMs he's running with his motor.
That's kind of a loaded question as well. It all depends on which motor you're running. If we're talking about a stock 35 carbureted, then you're going to be right around 4,000 RPMs, and that's going to be where you want to live. If you are talking about a 44 horse with some minor upgrades, then running up to 4,300 is about where you're going to want to be. If you've got one of our Mako packages that's 55 horsepower, it's got all of our parts in it. Not all of those parts are going to give you performance, but some of what they do is make it so you can run those higher RPMs. The upgraded push rods, the bigger valves, those things are to support the higher RPM, so you can get those things all the way up to 4,800 RPMs and be okay.
And with that, a lot of it, the prop selection has a big thing to do with it as well. I had a customer call this morning asking about a prop for his 35. He bought it, had a hammer prop on it. Mm-hmm. So he was getting 3,400 RPMs. He just was struggling to get out of the hole. Yeah. I explained to him again the situation with the hammer prop, and made the suggestion to go to a big blade, and he'd probably see a world of difference.
Yeah. If you're over those RPMs that I just talked about, then there's 2 ways to address that. The first thing you'll want to do is figure out the prop. If your prop is worn down, then you need a new one. If you've got a new prop and you're not getting enough RPMs, then you want to go with the smaller one. If you're getting too many RPMs, then you can move to a hammer prop. And if all those things don't take care of it, then you go to gearing, and we've got the whole line of gearing to get you in those optimum RPM ranges.
And obviously the easiest option is the prop as well.
Yeah.
A lot easier to turn over and switch than swapping gears out.
For sure. And you don't want to change something on your motor to come to find out that your prop was worn out and you put a new one on and now your RPMs are way out of whack again.
Absolutely. Cool. Curtis says, how can I get one of those camo hats?
Well, just give me your address and we'll get one sent out to you, buddy.
Yeah, we appreciate the comments, Curtis, so keep them coming. Appreciate it. So it looks like we got a couple more people in here. No other questions for now.
All right. Well, if you have any more questions, just go ahead and put them on this video, and I'll answer them. As the day goes by. One other thing that I wanted to touch on is we've been out of hammer props and we've been out of Q mufflers for months. Fortunately, we just got both of those items in the last couple days. So if you've been waiting for a hammer prop or Q muffler, those are on the way. If you like one, hit us up and we'll get you taken care of.
We got a couple questions. Curtis, this is awesome. Thank you so much for the hat. And then Stephen Wheeler wants to know, when are the top doors going to be available for the Shaggy blind?
We can get you taken care of on that right now. That's actually a good point. We've got those built. Maybe in here in the next day or two, we'll get some pictures of those and get them on the website, and you'll be able to order those. But that's a good point. We'll get that taken care of in the next couple days.
Perfect. Micah says, nice alligator.
Hurry up and build my motor, or your head will be on my desk.
Better hurry, Micah. All right, I don't see any other questions at this point, so.
All right, well, we'll sign off. If you have more questions, put them in the comments, and we'll answer them.
Sounds good.